Hello guys, I'm back and I'm coming at you with a how-to video. One, I changed up my background, literally only because there's a big ass window behind you and it's pretty bright out. So if I had my usual setup, which is my light is over there, it would look pretty stupid because I'm gonna have like a nice bright on this side and then shadows on this side. So we're gonna try it this way. See how it goes. Anyways, I'm coming at you with a how-to video on how to apply eyeshadow to an unset face. I thought this would be really fun and super helpful for people wanting to learn. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so typically I use one of two bases. I use either the MAC Select Cover Up Concealer or the P. Louise Rumor Base in shade 0.5. Today I'm using the MAC one. I just figured I'd use this. It's a bit more accessible. I'm not sure if it's still a thing because I did stock up on this when they were going to be discontinued. I don't know if they were actually being discontinued though, so yes. Anyways, the P. Louise is a bit thicker and stickier. But I really do like the MAC, and if you kind of want it to be the same, just let the MAC sit on your lids for a bit. So I have them mostly set, so we'll just toss on a little more. I cut in around my brows. I set my entire face, so I'll blend it in with a brush just right here and then over there, and I did the same on the other eye. Typically, when doing an eyeshadow look, you want to start with your transition shade, and then your next shade, and then your darker shade, and then if you go darker. That's kind of how we do it, lightest to darkest. It's different when you're going to be doing your eyeshadow on an unset base. Typically, most people go, darkest to lightest, and they blend out that dark shade with the shade above it, and then the shade above it, and kind of that way. The way I do it, and I find is easiest, is I go in with the middle shade first, and that is typically when I don't want my eyeshadow to be too dark. So if I want to do just a little bit of something, then I'll go in with the medium shades. So typically in the look that we're going to do, someone would go in with Chow, and then Buff, and then Delicious first, whereas I'm gonna go in with Buff, and then Chow, and then a wee bit of Delicious to my liking. And that's how we're gonna do that. So the same kind of rules apply. You want to use a smaller brush for darker shades, and then you can get a larger brush as you go bigger. Because I know exactly where I want this, it's gonna be more so in the crease and on the outer lid. I'm going to use my MAC 217 brush. And what you do, rather than just going in and starting to blend, you're going to pat. I'm gonna pat that shade in, build up that color. And for this look, I only really want it about this far in, so we're just gonna gently pat that edge. And then we're gonna make sure that it is fully pigmented and all one shade, and it's not patchy. Because it's with an unset base, you wanna make sure the whole area where Buff is gonna be is that buff color and not patchy because you didn't put enough product in that one spot. Then we're gonna toss them onto the lid. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into Chow and blend that out. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe M514 brush. This will give me some control over the smoke. I don't want it too crazy, but I don't want it too subdued either. So a brush like this that's nice and fluffy will give me control over where I want it. Okay, so I'm going in with Chow because I want to blend out Buff first with Chow and see those colors, and then I can figure out how much Delicious I want to actually put on. Because if I go straight in with Delicious, I could go in with a massively darker look than I want. I want to see where I'm at before I add that darker shade. And also one thing to note is that sometimes when putting dry powders on a wet base, they will go a little darker. Just like, you know, if really anything, if it gets wet, it goes darker. So if that happens, or even if you're using a new palette and you do that first and you're like, oh crap, that's a lot darker. If you go in with your kind of middle ground shade first, if you go in with your middle ground shade before you go in with the darkest shade, then you know how dark it's going to be and you can kind of base things off of that. Okay, so now we're actually gonna go in with Chow. And I'm going to kind of put my brush 50% on Buff and then 50% on the skin that has no eyeshadow at all. And that's how we're gonna blend out Buff, is kind of half on it and half not on it. And then this, we're not patting to get that color because we want to still blend out Buff. So we're gonna go circular motions. And we're just kind of tickling the edges. And once we have that nice smoke, then I'm gonna go back in, and that's when I'm gonna add the depth. Because this transition, yes, it's an unset base, so it's gonna be more saturated, brighter, darker, all that kind of stuff. But I still want to make sure that we have that beautiful seamless blend. Okay, now that we've put Chow there, this will happen. It's just what happens. While blending Buff into the skin, we blended a bit of the color away. So we're gonna go back into Buff with that same brush. Another important note, keep one brush for each color. Do not mix them, they will get muddy, not a good time. Keep one single brush for each color, even if you're doing a neutral look. Okay, so we're gonna go back into Buff and just put that color right back in there. And this is where I'm just gonna start blending like I usually do on a set base. Okay, now we're gonna go in with Delicious, because like I said, I didn't want this too dark. I wanted to kind of map out the shape of my eye look first, and then go in with that dark color. So then we're gonna go in with Delicious. I'm gonna take that on a smaller brush because we want this very defined and very in a specific spot. I've got the Morphe Jeffree Star JS12 brush, and we're just gonna dip into Delicious and kind of start patting on that under corner and then just dragging it onto the lid a little bit. And just defining really that small little outer corner right here. A little bit up into the crease, not too much. So we blended Chow all the way into here, and then we blended Buff up to about here. We're gonna blend Delicious up to about here. Okay, and now when you do this, like how we did with Buff when we blended it out with Chow, kind of went back in with all those colors. So as we blend in Delicious, we'll jump back in with Buff to just blend out the shade. And then because we blended back into Chow, we're gonna go into Chow again, kind of blend into that again, and just make sure it's just a really nice seamless blend from color to color. I think I'm going to do a little bit of black So I have an even smaller brush. It is the Morphe M507. We're gonna go in with the black, and that is Goodnight. And we're just keeping this like right tight outer corner lash line. That's it. Just gonna pat it on first, and then from there we'll blend it. And it's going like that high. We're not going high with this one at all. All right, so essentially what we did on the bottom was we made a big C shape. We smoked it out, and I wanted it lower than, you know, someone usually would smoke out their lower lash line. And then I connected it with Chow at the top, went in with Buff, did the same kind of thing, came in, not as far as Chow, connected it with Buff at the top, did the same thing with Delicious. And then the black, I did really just so that the bottom and the top connected and there wasn't that disconnect from the shades. Because if the black wasn't there, then it would just be black on top, right? And we want some kind of cohesion between the two. And basically what we're gonna do now is get ready to put some shimmer on the lid. So I'm just gonna kind of go in over that black just to blend it a bit with Chow. And this is just using whatever is left on the brush. I say that as I tap in a little bit to freaking color. We just want some kind of blend here because we will be putting some shimmer. Speaking of shimmer, I'm gonna go in with Glimmer on my finger. And we're gonna press that on the inner corner and the inner crease area, kind of blend up. The inner crease, and then whatever this part is, that's just above the crease, I guess. I'm gonna gently tap into those colors there. Okay, I'm just gonna dip in like the slightest little bit with my finger into Tia or Thea or Tay or T. I don't know how to say it. And what I'm gonna do is use that color to kind of blend in from the black into Glimmer. And we're just like tapping, just like ever so slightly, just along that edge there. And that's kind of how we're gonna blend them a little bit. And then to make sure everything is exactly how we want it, I'm gonna go back in and kind of blend over everything with the brush Chow was on, and then again with Buff, Delicious, and black is the main one because it's kind of doing that liner thing that we said, right? So I'm just gonna gently go back in with Goodnight and dust it just kind of where we had it, just to bring that kind of wing shape cat-eye look that we had going before we put the shimmer on top. I'm going to dip into Fenty How Many Carats. It looks gross, I know, but I use it as an eyeshadow, so it's got like concealer and shit on that. Okay. We're just gonna use like the tiniest bit because this can come off a little bit like silvery. We still want that gold vibe, but I just want like sparkle. I think I'm gonna go in with ColourPop Ladybird, super reflective. Okay, now that we have those colors down, those like deliciously glittery shadows down, deliciously glittery. what I'm going to do now, because we kind of lost glimmer just a little bit, we're gonna go back in with glimmer. Still on that same finger. Just gently tap over top. We don't want too much, but we just kind of want that color back. And all of those shades kind of poking through glimmer. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, there we go. That is the eye look. I'm gonna pop off, go do lips, lashes, all that good stuff, and then come back and show you the finished look. Okay, so there's a close-up on the eyes. I used Lily Lashes in Barcelona. Okay, and this is the final look, all zoomed out and everything. On my lips, I have Stripped Down lip liner by MAC, Creme de Nude lipstick, and then Cork lip liner, and then Oyster Girl lip gloss. Yes, it's a combination, I know. That is how I do my eyes, my eyeshadow on an unset base. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was helpful. If anyone else has any other questions on how to go about doing an eye look like this, or even a different eye look on an unset base, let me know in the comments. If you want a color version, so I can explain to you, how I would go about doing a colorful look on an unset base, because that is also where an unset base like really shines, because it makes those colors so pigmented and vibrant. But I thought a neutral look would kind of help more than a few people. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Like I said, hope it was helpful, hope you liked it. Give it a like, let me know if you want to see anything else in the comments below, and let me know what you thought of it. Okay, thanks guys, bye!